The Washington Post announced last week that it will not be making an endorsement of a presidential candidate in this election. This announcement caused an outbreak of vapors. People were outraged, and a few even quit their jobs in protest. It is said that strong men make good times make weak men make hard times, and hard times make strong men. I can't tell you for sure where we are on this continuum. It looks like hard times to me. I can tell you that the largest voting bloc in the Democrat Party is college-educated white women. I can also tell you that studies show that 40% of college-educated women have either a diagnosed mental illness or an undiagnosed mental illness. As a result, a person could make a fair argument that the Democrat Party is the party of crazy white bitches. Mind you, I wouldn't make that argument, but you could.
Nobody gets a pass on inciting an insurrection. Nobody gets a pass on saying he fancies Hitler and wants to have generals like his. Nobody gets a pass on insulting veterans and saying those who died for our country are suckers and losers, right, except for convicted felon Donald Trump. Yes. Yes. And guys, here's the warning. You all have set it up. But let me take it a step further, please, if I may. Mm-hmm. This is called normalization. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is the descent into fascism, if we so choose.
But I digress. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon.com and the owner of the Washington Post, published an explanation of the editorial decision. He notes that journalism is the least trusted of all occupations. He notes further that most people believe the media is biased, and he argues that his newspaper must work harder to increase our credibility. This strikes me as a head fake. Jeff Bezos and the people like him have an interest in managing the population so as to increase their wealth. The media is their tool for spreading propaganda to fool the people into believing, among other things, that they have a voice in the government. Obviously, the next chapter in this game is that the media is going to pretend to take a hard stance against the government. They're going to do this because a lot of people will think if the media is tough on the government, the media is on our side. But the media won't be. It will be just a different act in the same puppet show.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you." If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Steve Bannon got out of jail today. This is intensifying the panic in the blue people, probably because he's an effective messenger.
Live from New York, the world's financial capital, you're in the war room. It's Tuesday, the 29th of October in the year of our Lord 2024. We're 6 and a wake up away from one of the most important political days in the history of this country. Understand something, and this has to be very clear. The Democrats and those radicals you just saw on MSNBC and CNN and Joe Scarborough and that entire crowd, right? They had Robert Kagan's wife who brought this entire debacle on Ukraine on us. They have no intention of giving up power. I can tell you, in coming from and being a political prisoner in a federal prison, that the young men in this country that are African American and Hispanic detest Kamala Harris. They detest her.
The blue people shouldn't be afraid of the message. We all know what the pillars of MAGA are: end endless war, secure the border, and rebuild the industrial base. There's no dispute that America has financial difficulties. The military is overextended, the border is collapsing, and the economy is imploding. Hence, MAGA is the common sense response. Moreover, the pillars of MAGA were Democrat orthodoxy half a century ago. If the blue people were consistent, they'd at least be for the ideas, if not the messengers. Another odd thing is that the blue people aren't consistent about which Nazis are the good ones. I can see that they believe that Trump is Hitler, so that probably makes him one of the bad ones. But they're for the Nazis in Ukraine who are fighting Russians on the Eastern Front in German tanks. 80 years ago, when this exact same thing was happening, we were on the side of the Russians because the Nazis were the worst bad guys in history. But now the worst bad guys in history are the good guys, unless it's Trump, but he's not even a Nazi. The crazy white bitch theory does explain a lot.
This is the third election in a row in which Russia has tried to interfere to try to get Trump into the White House. How do you assess the magnitude and the type of interference they're attempting this year compared to what they've done in his previous two elections?
Well, as you said earlier, Rachel, he's at it again. This time he's not even trying to hide his hand, and he has far more sophisticated tool. Brand new, very, very powerful tool, which is Elon Musk and X. You know, in 2020, the social media companies worked hard with the U.S. government to try to do content moderation, to try to catch this stuff as it was happening. But this time we have Elon Musk talking directly to the Kremlin and ensuring that every time the Russians put out something like this, it gets 5 million views on X before anybody can catch it. So it's quite dangerous.